Ivan, a silverback gorilla, is the main attraction for an unsuccessful show at the Big Top Mall Circus. He's very well known, he even has his own billboard. A show needs more than one person, so Mac, the ringmaster, joins. He is funny on stage, but not after the performance. He gathered other animals, including Henrietta, a chicken skilled at baseball, Frankie, an anxious sea lion good with a ball, and Murphy, a rabbit in a fire truck. Next is the queen, Stella, an elephant who lived long before Ivan. Her partner is Snickers, a poodle used to add elegance to the show. Ivan was encouraged to simply be himself, but the aggressive stage persona isn't his actual personality. After the show, he goes back to his cage. A young girl named Julia is sitting by the glass. Because her father George works on the show, he often takes her there. She brought Ivan a drawing this time. When Mac joins them and asks George about Sarah, he learns her health problems continue. To make things easier, he gives Julia money for new crayons and receives many thanks. After everyone leaves, Mac talks to Ivan about the show's problems, asking for advice on how to fix it. Remembering he's talking to a gorilla quickly makes him feel awful. That night, Ivan and Stella talk about how few the seats are now, while a stray dog sleeps on the gorilla's belly. She tries to assure him it wasn't his fault. Mac gets ready for their next show, and soon, it's Ivan's turn to speak. He does his usual growling, but the applause afterwards is extremely soft. After the show, Julia brought another gift, her old crayons and paper. She just leaves with her dad as soon as she delivers them. That night, Ivan sees Mac give Snickers some food. His friend also sees it, and Mac hits him back. Anyway, the ringmaster was very angry with Costello, a tamer, for letting the stray in. Costello then opens the cage to take care of Ivan, but Ivan's appearance scares him. After drawing a beetle with Julia's crayons, the silverback gets a visit from his dog friend. He makes many guesses before Ivan tells him it's a beetle. The next day at the mall, Mac saw his colleague Mike packing his things to move to the Galleria. They started discussing how business would improve, but nothing he said convinced Mike to stay. Mike had a reason for leaving because their next show was doing so poorly that Mac was begging the audience to invite others. Picasso could learn a lot about commissioning portraits from Julia. This time, she draws Ivan's stray dog and names him Bob. A deep sense of knowing himself fills the stray, and just before the little girl leaves, she briefly sees Ivan's drawing. She calls her dad's attention to it. He thinks it is a scribble, but Julia thinks it is a beetle. She knew it right away, and that touched Ivan. At dawn, Mac is excited but nobody knows why. He leaves the building with Snickers escorting him to the door, so Bob takes the opportunity to quickly go up to her room. He makes a loud fart, then eats her pet food. Snickers comes back right now, trying to convince Bob to be domesticated. Too bad the dog wants to be free. She says the show is cancelled today because a new animal is arriving. Bob promises secrecy, but the instant he is outside through the doggy door, he reveals everything to Ivan. He doesn't stop there, he goes to all the other animals and tells them the news. After a short time, a truck arrived and its door hissed open. Mac walks slowly into the back, amazed by the new delivery, but then it knocks him down so hard he was terrified. Stella is his last option, and the delivery turns out to be a baby elephant. Gracefully, she reaches out her trunk, and the little one copies her. She connects with the young elephant right away, and uses their bond to get it out of the truck. It seems the little one came from a failed circus in Jersey. Its name is Ruby. Ivan keeps staring when Mac says Ruby is key to improving the show. That night, while Ivan tried to sleep, little Ruby began asking many questions. She quickly says Ivan isn't scary, yet he tries hard to persuade her. Even when he tries his hardest, he fails. In the next show, Ivan began his act but Mac quickly stopped him to introduce the new lead performer. It is Ruby, and Mac rolls the R in her name so hard it hurts Ivan's ears. She comes on stage, and everyone adores her simply because she is cute. Ruby got loud applause, which made the show interesting. That night, she kept asking many questions, which annoyed Ivan and Bob. At sunrise, they show a new poster featuring Ruby. Suddenly, the show is full of life. Many people come to see the little elephant, and the number grows with each show. One day, Julia visited Ruby and saw Stella standing oddly. The old elephant seems unable to stand on all her feet, so Julia calls her dad. Then, he calls Mac and they look at it together. After searching for a while, and not finding anything, Mac finally suggests George put some aspirin in the elephant's food. He promises to call the vet in the morning. That night, she tells Ruby a story about her own childhood as a little elephant. Because she was badly stuck in the forest mud, a young girl like Julia gathered her villagers to rescue her. The story made the child wonder if wild animals are free. Stella describes a beautiful zoo, and then tells Ruby to go to bed. The next show starts soon, but Stella's foot is still too sore to stand on. George suggests she not perform in the show, and Mac agrees, so Ruby has to perform alone. The ringmaster comes out to present the young elephant, but Ruby misses her signal 2 times because she is too scared. Now, Ivan encourages the animal outperforming him, telling her to simply be herself. On her 3rd introduction, Ruby slowly appeared, getting huge applause for her courage. While she remained sleepless that night, Stella was deeply asleep, seeming to have overdone it during the day. So, Ivan draws the child a carrot, and they both agree to keep his talent hidden. Ruby also wants to hear a story, but Ivan remembers nothing from his childhood. Bob quickly takes his place, sharing tales of being abandoned by a cruel person who left him to drown after he fell from a bridge. This is more like a horror film than a bedtime story, so Ivan takes control again. Now it's his turn to tell what happened to him. The silverback grew up with Mac and his wife, Helen. He used diapers, shared their bed, watched movies, and played at the park. People saw it and watched it with admiration. Soon, he started taking photos with them, but there was a problem. Being a gorilla, Ivan didn't know he shouldn't make messes or tear up the couch. Helen had had enough after 2 months of this. She took her purse, left the house, and never came back. Only Mac and Ivan continued. That's how he was moved to his current cage, built just for him. Meanwhile, Ruby is already asleep. Ivan tells her goodnight. Right before he falls asleep, Stella calls him. Whispering, she got him to promise one thing, that Ruby's life would be different from her own. Being able to live as you want. Ivan promises strongly and Stella holds his hand with her trunk and says her last word, goodbye. It rained that night, as if the sky was sad. The circus is sad because all the animals miss the old elephant. Mac collects himself, turns to Ruby, and explains they will start rehearsing her act tomorrow. Apparently, Bob wouldn't stop revealing Ivan's promise to Stella before she died. Now, they must handle Ruby and what she expects. Confused at first, Ivan doesn't know where to go or if he should leave Mac like that. He falls asleep thinking about the problem, but Bob licks him awake. The dog shows Ivan Mac teaching Ruby new tricks for the show. The young elephant is having trouble learning even easy tricks, but Mac keeps trying. He makes her keep going late into the day, and everyone can see Ruby is worn out. Julia tells her dad what happened, and he tries to save Ruby from his boss. It is not functioning properly. Mac keeps pushing the little elephant, and with each push, Ivan gets angrier. Suddenly, Ruby blasts water from her trunk. It blows Mac's toupee off, and his embarrassment makes him stop. Later, Ivan plans to have Julia get him the key to the cages, so he and Ruby can escape into the forest across the highway. Certain it would work, he shares his plan with Ruby as a story, promising her the elephant in his tail is freed. The next day, when Julia arrives, Ivan shows her his drawings, waiting for her to spot the key. But Mac comes in before she can see them well and looks through the drawings. When he finds out Ivan drew them, he suddenly realizes how much attention the news media would give to a gorilla that could draw. He did not make a mistake. News outlets are reporting on the story as if it were something truly unbelievable. Soon, the circus sells out shows, and Bob points Ivan to the crowd. He's less excited than the others because he's worried about breaking his promise to Stella. Mac, feeling excited, walks onto the stage to introduce Ivan as the artistic ape from Exit 8. It's a shame everyone likes the nickname except Ivan. Everyone is watching him when he is given art supplies, but he just yells boo at Mac. Before the ringmaster can finish presenting Ivan, the silverback walks off, showing no interest. Next, Mac arrives, yelling. He spots Bob hiding in the corner. He called Costello repeatedly, warning he would fire him if the dog showed up again. That night, as Costello makes a net to catch Bob, Ivan thinks of a new plan, explaining he needs Bob's help so it will succeed. As planned, Bob approaches Costello first and instantly bites him, causing the tamer to chase him. He goes into Ivan's cage like usual, but this time, the silverback acts as if he's asleep. Noticing this, Costello retrieves the key to the cage, gets in, and approaches Bob with a net. Jumping down at this moment, Ivan's size alone frightens Costello. The unfortunate tamer passes out very quickly. Ivan puts Costello in the cage, swings to Ruby, and tells her they are going to the wild. She asks about the other animals, so Ivan goes back to let them all out. Side by side, they head for the exit. Bob tries to get Snickers to come, but the poodle is sure she can't survive outside. Clearly, her blow dryer is essential to her. Thelma the parrot keeps hitting the door. Bob says it's locked. Briefly, they all appear hopeless until Bob reminds Ivan he's a silverback weighing more than 400 pounds. Ivan runs into the door and knocks it off its hinges. When the alarms ring, the crew stops to see the outside world, until Bob yells he can lead them. They follow the dog without thinking. Later, Costello calls Mac from the cage. The bald man instantly wakes up when Costello says the animals are missing from the circus. We must cross the street, but Murphy's fire truck is stuck. He's been in this situation so long he doesn't know how to get out. As it struggled to escape, a fast car came near, and the rabbit screamed in fear. Just before it was too late, Ivan quickly arrives and grabs him. Sadly, his favorite truck is completely destroyed. A moment after they go into the bushes, Mac gets there in a panic. He sees the empty cages but doesn't care about freeing Costello. The animals were all very happy, because Murphy was finally hopping on his own feet. They look at the plants and think about being free. Unfortunately, things didn't work out as planned. After crossing the bushes, Ivan is back at the Big Top Mall. It seems they crossed a small wooded spot inside the concrete city. Everyone gets quiet and sad as they just stand there. Ivan is still thinking what to do next when he sees someone coming with a flashlight. He shouts for them to hide and growls loudly to scare off the intruder. At this moment, Mac introduces himself and tries to calm Ivan down. He warns that nobody is safe and the gorilla is risking Ruby. After some thought, Ivan agreed. Everyone went back to the circus, and Mac fell asleep watching them. George arrives early to help and wakes him up. He speaks with Mac. Mac warns that they would close if the escape becomes public. Because George sees this, he replaces Mac. Meanwhile, Ruby keeps asking Ivan many questions about what the wild is really like. The silverback becomes frustrated because Ruby keeps asking, even though he told her he doesn't remember. Bob confronts him about this, claiming he deliberately avoided remembering. Since he felt bad, Ivan said he would try. He explains his parents gave him the nickname Mud as he constantly searched for it. He drew with mud on any surface and spent the whole day drawing instead of climbing trees with his friends. That was his idea of fun. His dad thought it strange and tried teaching him how to thump his chest. But the first time Ivan tried, he fell in mud. He says he really loved playing with his sister, Tag. Their parents named the children after their favorite things. Ruby cuts in while Ivan is telling his story to say Tag sounds very fun. She then thinks about Ivan's sister. The silverback tries to stop telling his story, but Ruby insists. Ivan was playing in the mud one day when the forest suddenly fell silent, too quiet. Suddenly, attackers rushed the gorillas, forcing Ivan's father to throw his son onto his back. He ran as fast as possible because they were in great danger. Sadly, they got separated from the rest of their troop. To protect them, his father hid him in a tree and beat his chest. This led to him being shot, and that moment never left little Ivan. He lost touch with his troop after that day and still feels guilty because he wasn't strong enough to fight. Ruby encourages Ivan instead of Stella, explaining that his father certainly loved him just as he was. Everyone is still recovering after failing to join the wild. Julia arrives just then with finger paint from her aunt. She gives him the gift and sits near him, ready to share her feelings. She senses Ivan wants out of the circus, but regrets having no way to help him. Feeling unhappy, the silverback goes back to his corner. Later that night, playing with water reminded him of drawing with his bare hand. This makes Ivan eager, so he rushes back to get the paint Julia left. Ivan paints all night, completely focused, and never stops. Meanwhile, Mac leaves home, arrives at his booth to do his makeup, then has an interview with Candace, a reporter for local news. He is happy to do the interview, assuming it concerns the artistic ape from Exit 8. Sadly, the animals got out the other night. Mac quickly said the claim was false, and made fun of the reporter for believing it. He gets out of the situation safely and goes to George, who is helping his daughter turn on the lights. Mac looked away and told him about the reporter, worried they could be shut down if anything got out. Frankie starts performing on stage, but Ivan is still busy drawing and does not see. As the others go up, Ivan continues to draw. Ruby is performing now, so Ivan follows. A worried Bob goes to check on his friend and is shocked by the scene. Mac gave his usual introduction, calling the silverback a primate Picasso. The curtains open and Julia shines a spotlight on Ivan. Rather than a gorilla, the crowd loved his painting showing a lively forest, streams, and, impressed by Ivan's talent, the crowd went silent, then loud clapping began. He quietly dries his fur near the sea and looks directly at Julia. She is fascinated by this and keeps staring back, as if she sees something in his eyes. Later, she leaves her post and rushes to her dad, excitedly asking if he can see Ivan's painting. Since George thinks it is beautiful, Julia mentions that Ivan wants to be free. This causes problems for her father. He wants to keep his job, but he also wants his dog. George wonders what his child expects. She nods at Candace, the reporter by the door. He stops talking and thinks for a while. He couldn't resist the look in his child's eyes and let her go. Right away, Julia goes to the reporter and tells her name. The very next day, protesters gathered outside the mall, shouting to free Ivan and Ruby. Mac is still home, getting ready to eat toast, when he hears the news. Candace let people know Ivan's painting was about his search for freedom, and everyone believed it. Inside the circus tent, Ruby doesn't get why folks are shouting her name. She asks Ivan whether those outside are mad at them. He told her they really want to help. He then reminds her Stella said the old elephant only wanted them to see how beautiful the wild is. Eventually, the Big Top Circus closes permanently. Mac keeps sulking while he packs his things, but nothing changes. The next day, Animal Control arrives to remove the other animals, so Frankie and Henrietta say goodbye. Ruby hasn't finished her 20 questions yet. She asks if other elephants will be there, because she's afraid they won't like her. Ivan responds that she is talking nonsense, because she is too adorable anyway. She also said she would tell the rest of the elephants about everyone she saw at the circus, especially Stella. After a moment remembering the old elephant, Dr. Maya from Wildlife Control arrives with a treat, motioning for Ruby to come get it. The elephant waits for Ivan to approve, and he nods. Slowly, they walked until they separated, and Ruby left with the doctor. Mac turns to Snickers for comfort because they will be alone. At the same time, Bob sneaks into Ivan's cage to say goodbye, feeling sad about losing his favorite sleeping spot. Soon, the silverback gives him Knot Tag, the stuffed gorilla Julia gave him. He claims it helps the dog sleep, and his action is recognized. It's too bad Bob has to go before he's taken to the shelter. On his way out, he reminds the silverback that he is Ivan, the only one. Max stops this nice moment, so Bob runs off. Bob runs away to be safe, even though the ringmaster doesn't want to chase anyone. After this, Max sits with Ivan, talking about the past and how happy he was when he first brought him home. He shows a cute picture as proof. Ivan walks up to him. They looked at each other knowingly and touched their foreheads, a ritual before every show. As he leaves, Max says he will miss Ivan. Holding back a sniffle, he opens his cage door. Dr. Maya is back, and this time she has a big cage for Ivan. She puts her hand on the glass and promises the silverback she will set him free. Ivan looks around briefly, then walks into the cage and falls asleep. When he wakes up, he is in a white room and thinks they must have moved him from one prison to another. Panicked, he shoved hard against the exit and was about to do it again. He only stops when he hears Dr. Maya speak and promise the white room isn't his home. Press the button to raise the door. Finally, Ivan feels the sun and gratefully enjoys its warmth. First, he carefully steps onto the grass, then walks outside completely to smell a flower. These small things mean a lot to him, and the most important is seeing another gorilla family just walking around the huge zoo. Ivan heard elephants trumpeting far away, so he stopped everything and ran towards the sound. He climbed a tree in that direction and saw Ruby playing with the other elephants from the top. Ivan looks at the sky now and tells Stella he kept his promise, adding that Ruby is finally free. The story of Ivan is inspired by the real Ivan was rescued from poachers in Central Africa in 1962. He came to America to live with a loving family but moved to Tacoma, Washington when he grew too big for them. There, he was put on display in a shopping center and remained inside for 27 years. He learned to paint there, and in 1994, local people protested, asking that he be moved to a better place. The protest achieved its goals. Ivan was moved to Zoo Atlanta, where he had lots of space to roam. A long time later, Bob suddenly appears. Ivan isn't sure if he's real at first, but the mutt says he can sneak anywhere. Now, he is not telling the truth. Julia's mother, Sarah, liked him so much that he moved in with their family. Yes, Julia, her father, and Mac visit Ivan. He returned without the wig and said Ivan looked great. Bob tells him one last time that he is Ivan, and Bob smiles reassuringly. Even though something bad happened to Ivan, he met some great people because of it. When it was time for him to leave them, he returned to his natural home in the wild. A bird in a beautiful cage doesn't know about the sky. Are you the one known as that bird?